Okay, so I want to point out that this is the great room. And remember, we made a stacked wall that had a bond area. But in this particular case, the wall is 2 stories tall. So we need to modify this stacked wall so that we don't have a bond area in it. We don't need this bond area. That's where the floor joist would fit if there were a floor here, but there isn't. So this stacked wall needs to be changed. And if we go through, let's take a look at this wall right here. Let's go to this view. And well, let's see. So I want this wall to be straight all the way up. This might be a better view here. I'm cutting through the windows, but you can see that this wall needs to go straight up, and we want to eliminate that bond area. So first thing I'll do is draw a reference plane. Always a good idea to save your project. Never be sorry that you did. And I'm going to go from the face of the gypsum board just straight up. And I want to see what's the difference in the distance that I need to thicken this wall in order for the gypsum board to line up. And if I measure that from face of gypsum board to face of gypsum board, it's 4 more inches. All right, so we want to take a look at this wall. We're going to edit the type. I just want to see what is the name of the wall at the, we'll preview it just to make sure we select the right one. And this is the one we're selecting, and it's called 7. Okay, so I'm going to close that down and come up here and just say basic wall, and I'm looking for 7, and I'm going to duplicate it, and I'll just call it 7 plus 4 inches. Okay, so now we'll add this guy right here. We're going to take the thickness of the structure, and instead of being 5.5 inches, we'll change that to 9.5 inches, which would be the additional 4 inches, and we'll say okay. And so now I have a wall that is the 7 plus, and it's the correct thickness. So I'll say okay to that. And unfortunately, what I did was I had this wall highlighted. It looks like I did anyway. No, oh, that's good. I'm going to edit this wall, and I'm going to duplicate it, and I'm going to say exterior house wall plus 4 inches. Okay. And um, so now I will come in here and I'll change 7 to the 7 plus 4. That makes it a little bit wider, and we'll say okay to that. And I don't need the bond anymore. So let's go back and delete the bond, which is, I'm clicking on row 2. I see that it's highlighted. It's a foot thick. So I'm going to take a foot out of the height of this wall, and I'm going to add that back into the height of my row number 1, 7 plus 4. So I will delete this, and I will change this guy to 9 feet. Oops, we already had the foot symbol in there. So let's say okay to that and see what happens. And we'll say okay to that and see what happens. And we'll just say okay to that. So my concern is this wall is also needs to have that. So it needs to be the, come down to the recently used 7 plus 4. Okay, that looks good. And let's go back to the first floor plan. What did we change? We changed this wall to the 7 plus 4. We changed this wall to the 7 plus 4. And now I need to change this wall to the 7 plus 4. It's only changing the second floor. And let's take a look at that now. Let's flip it. I always like to look into the back of the house. And let's take a look. Um, So now I have my 7+4 wall. And so it all lines up. And let's go back and take a look at that picture here. Now you can see that there are no, there's no bond and the wall goes completely straight up. All right, so the original stacked wall was built for the normal house where there are 2 floors. But in the great room, we only have 1 floor, that's the main floor, and then we'll have all the way up to the ceiling. So we had this bond area that was created with the stacked wall. We had to make another stacked wall that didn't have that bond area, and that was what this tutorial was about. And you can see what we want the wall to look like and what it originally looked like, and it wasn't that hard to make that difference. Now this bond area is not a stacked wall. This is a wall on the first floor. This is a wall on the second floor. You can see the plywood subfloor, and you can see the plywood subfloor of the bridge. I haven't put any structure in there. So you can see basically what we're trying to do in this tutorial is simply fix this wall so that it looked right, so that it was all the way up. Gypsum board is flush all the way up, and that's how we would want it to look in real life. And you can see I have a little bit of a opening into the dining room. Nice oak floors and the stairs here. Still don't know how to hold that up, but I think I have a solution. One of the thoughts I had was that we'd cantilever a long beam. We would bury a long beam into the wall and then hold up this corner of the stairs. But as you can see, I have a window there, so I can't bring a long beam buried into the wall to carry this load as a cantilever. I think my solution might be to flip the stairs so that the up is on the other side, because I do believe that I might have that capability. But anyway, so here we go. This is what we're looking at. We step by step, we're fine tuning our house. We started out with a bubble diagram and threw some walls in there and then made those rooms bigger, smaller, and added a few spaces, put some doors and windows in, and we're working our way towards a final project here, or a final product.